Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Joining me from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast is my co-host, Rebellious D. How you doing today, bro?
Ready, man. Ready to rock.
I'm ready to rock too, and we are reviewing season 3 of Kid Cosmic. It's the cartoon that is on Netflix, animated series, which is a really awesome show. We've done a review for the first season, the second season, and now we're here at the third season. So before we get into today's interview, first thing I want to say is that there will be spoilers in this review. So if you haven't watched season 3 yet, come back and check this video out after you watched it. But after that, then hop in the comments and talk with us about it. But before we get into today's review, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. D.
Hey, look, as always, podcast in the description, like, follow, subscribe to the channel, and thank you all for watching.
That's right. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So with season 3, I did not know that it was coming out so soon. Like, D told me that it was coming out, and I was just like, real? And as soon as he told me, I binged it. I binged it that day, and it was an awesome journey. It was an emotional ride. There was only 6 episodes too. It wasn't 8 episodes like season 1 and season 2. And I was telling D this earlier. I feel like the reason why it was that many episodes because I feel like all the episodes were already animated and done, and then Netflix, they just split them up. So in grand total, we had a total of 22 episodes for the entire series. Now, the reason why I say the entire series is because with this season, it wraps up really nice. The ending, how it ended and whatnot, it was very emotional. And I feel like if they wanted to continue it, they could probably do it with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be Kid Cosmic. Like, their journey is over. They could have an alien from another planet be the new hero or something like that. Who knows? But D, I want to pass it to you. Like, what were your thoughts on season 3 of Kid Cosmic?
I loved it. I thought that it wrapped up the series as a whole. It wrapped up very nice, neat with a bow. You know, they didn't drag this thing out. Like you mentioned, it is emotional, which I thought that was kind of one of the only things season 1 and season 2 were kind of missing, was anything that really dove into an emotional spectrum. And you get that more in this season. And I loved it.
I agree, man. They really what's the word that we were trying to figure out what we were gonna say today?
They had a good twist.
Yes, there we go.
Yes.
They bamboozled us.
We've been bamboozled.
He bamboozled because it's like, hey,
the googly moogly.
They thought they returned to Earth. They were with the PPG now, and they were the global heroes now. And I was just like, okay, because I remember when season 2 wrapped up, we were just like, yo, there's so much that they can do this season now because of they're back on Earth and like all of the stones are on Earth. But then when you find out that Phantos had put them into this Matrix like thing, and that it pretty much gave them whatever they wanted, and I thought that was cool. We saw the biker in black return, and we saw like all these cool villains. It felt like a comic book, and
yes, for sure.
I'm glad that Joe finally started noticing that, hey, something is going on. But I will say, when we saw that Papa G was there and he was just like, hey, I don't want you to stop this, I really thought that it was an evil Papa G, because like one of the clones that he created was like a bad clone and was gonna do whatever it took. But then when you just find out that he just wanted Kid to be happy. And I can understand that. Like, that's why I say that this was very emotional, especially when we get to episode 5 where they're fighting against Phantos, and like this is like the final fight for the series. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to piggyback and backtrack a little bit. I want to say in season 6 you get some pretty cool villain introductions. Obviously you have the Lex Luthor lookalike Big Boss, which that's kind of a Metal Gear name. But I thought it was really cool when they were in the fantasy, because they got to like do combo attacks. And you get some pretty sweet fight scenes. Even Joe versus Papa G. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, that was pretty sweet. So then you get a little spoof off of the Megazord, where you have people in the thumbs, somebody in the spleen and the butt. It was really cool. One other thing too, Banks, I want to talk about that I really enjoyed was the superhero names they were all given. I mentioned that to you earlier. Quarter Pounder, Curly Fry. I thought that was super funny.
Yeah,
I really
enjoyed. Not forget about the suits. Like
suits for
sweet,
sure,
man. Like it just seemed like it was like legit. Like, we're really doing this. We're really gonna save the planet. We're gonna get all of the stones and whatnot. And it was messed up when they found out the truth, and how the reality tried to make it seem like that kids' parents were still alive. And I'm glad that it shows Kid Cosmic's growth from the first season to where he's at now, because the old kid would have said, I want to stay here with my parents, but he knew that they weren't real. And even he said himself, he was just like, my parents weren't like this, you know what I'm saying? It's like they were too loving and too caring. So I get that, man. But to see the flashback of when his parents died, well, not when they died, but after the funeral, and when he moved in with Papa G, and you see that he was cold at first, and he kept to himself, and then he found the bike, put it together, and then him and Papa G had that bonding moment. And it was just very sad, because I really thought that Papa G was gonna die too. I thought it was cool that
it's pretty cool
that the stone that he had on his neck that he found when he was a kid was the 14th stone. I also thought that was cool too, that there was a 14th stone. What do you think, D?
Oh, I loved it too. And real quick on the whole false reality, I thought that it was just that the organization was actually evil, trying to collect it for themselves is where I thought it was going. But I thought that it, like I said, it wrapped it up in a nice, neat bow. You get the cliffhanger with Papa G for a minute there, where he looks like he's about to fade away when he gives up the he gives up the 14th stone. Now, was it healing or was it longevity?
Stone.
It was actually like healing.
Yeah, it was a healing stone, and because he had it on for so long,
he lived to be 112 years old.
Yeah, and he was your boy Master Roshi, man. Like that's pretty much what he was. But as soon as he took that stone off, he wasn't de-aging, but he was fine. His age was finally catching up to him. He wasn't able to run around anymore and do all that stuff. So I really thought that he was gonna die, and I thought it was cool that you find out, you see Herodias's backstory as well, that it was a planet that people came to heal. Heal. And because it lost that piece, it was going throughout the galaxy and absorbing other planets to try and find that peace, and Papa G had it the entire time. So I thought that was like a really nice touch.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
When they return to Earth and the government is there, they're just like, hey, don't say anything, don't tell nobody nothing. And
what secret?
And it's like, I understand why Kid would feel the way that he felt. Now, D, do you think that when all of those comic book companies turned down his comic, do you think that the government had something to do with that, so that the word wouldn't get out?
Yeah, I mean, that's a strong speculation, because they, Kid immediately starts writing comics. And, he was like, I sent it to all these publishers. So it was, I thought that just having, them as a whole really still make their restaurant, like a beacon for people all over the galaxy that were hungry, similar to what they did after season 1 when they actually made like a interstellar truck stop kind of deal. I thought it was very sentimental and very cool. A very cool way to wrap it.
And it was cool that like all the aliens returned after Kid told them. It's just like, like we did this, like y'all shouldn't act like we didn't have a good time out there, and everybody needs to know that aliens exist.
For
sure.
And
I mean, it was sad too that they lost their powers and whatnot because Herodias was finally healed.
It was like a means to an end.
So that's what I mean, where because Kid's story is over doesn't mean that the story has to be over. And I'm not a huge One Piece fan, but how you always say, One Piece, because there's so much water, there's so much to explore.
Yeah, they're literally like doing what is that called? Around the world in 80 days.
That's the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? That's basically the way I feel like One Piece is. And where you were going with it, it just has these unique characters every time you turn around. And it's not like they're constantly building. So it's like, but for them to wrap up Kid Cosmic correctly, I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I think you feel the same, right?
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah, don't run it into the ground and all that.
Yeah, you don't need to. And see, this is something that we've talked about before with Netflix shows, is that sometimes it's short and sweet. And like that's all it needs to be. But then of course there are some Netflix shows where they come out like The Great Pretender, for example. It ends on a cliffhanger, and it's just like, well, is there gonna be more? We need more. I mean, it could be a Tiger and Bunny thing where it's like we have to wait 10 years before we get.
You could be right.
2, you know.
Now, no, you're right. You're right. I was just gonna piggyback now that you started spinning the wheel. But just like another show that we review right here on the channel, Scissor 7. You know, and they're working into the final stages of that. And as far as we know, it seems like they're heading towards, they have the movie coming and then another season, I'm guessing. But it hasn't run its course yet, so it's okay for them to keep going. But we can kind of tell that this show should only go like maybe 2 more seasons at the most. Because
Cosmic?
Scissor 7. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I feel like with the movie, like that could be.
It depends on what. Point. Yeah, it depends on how much ground they cover, but he's on this journey and stuff. But I appreciate it. Yeah, exactly. I just appreciate it when they, you keep it on a realistic schedule. You don't beat the fandom into the ground, but you give them memorable characters to call back on.
Yeah. So. And all the characters were memorable, and I'm glad that
for sure
everybody at the trucks at the diner, they all got power rings, and they all have really cool moments and whatnot. And I just love that everybody had a chance to shine, especially with the way that this series ended. So I know I had read an article earlier where Craig McCracken was saying that there could possibly be a season 4. You know what I'm saying? So like, don't hold your breath. Like that's what I'm saying about how even though Kid's story is over, they could still, and then even if Kid's story isn't over, because like the aliens are back now, like we don't know what else can happen. I mean,
they could do something where he grows up too.
Yeah, that's
you never know.
You never know. That is true. That's true. So, D, final thoughts, and what is your rating for season 3?
I'm gonna give season 3 a 9 out of 10. I thought it was very well done. Love the characters, love the adventure that they go on. I love the conclusion to the story. You have some tear jerkers in there. So yeah, and I love all the abilities too, and I love all the very I just love them as a group, the truck stop family as a whole. I just thought it was amazing. You got the cooks involved, you got the random trucker, nowhere man. It was just Go-Go Granny. I mean, I just loved it. Banks?
Yeah, for me, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 as well. Like I said, really good way to wrap up the season. All of the character development that we had, the growth of the characters from season 1 to where they are right now. And when I mean the growth, I'm just talking more on the local heroes than the heroes that we ended up getting from the diner in season 2, because I mean, like they're more just supporting characters, but
of course.
they played a role though, so 9 out of 10. Let us know in the comments what you thought about season 3. Give us your rating for it. D, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
As always, you can find me at rebellious_D23 at Instagram.com. Hey, Banks, look, man, it's over. Rodius is healed. If they're trying to grab a burger with a hero, tell them where they can find you at.
Hey, they can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you again for watching this review. Make sure you check out some more of our reviews that we have here on the channel, along with interviews and reaction videos. Like I say every time, keep that pinky up, stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.